Welcome back to the show, my favorite people. I'm your host, Nnamdi. You are watching the Empathy is Money show. Once again, be empaths. Go out there and change the world and impact the world for the better. Today, where I am going to share with you a video that I recently watched. It's an interview with Lex Fridman and Vitalik Buterin. Lex Fridman is a an MIT engineer. Um, he hosts his own podcast, Lex Fridman. You can follow him online. Amazing, very smart guy, Russian American. Vitalik Buterin is one of the co-founders of the Ethereum blockchain, and this is one of the this is one of the most insightful interviews that I've watched in a while. If you're a fan of the Ethereum blockchain, or if you are knee deep into blockchain and cryptocurrency, this is the type of interview that you should watch. I learned so much, and it's pretty long. It's about a 3 hour long interview, but it's packed dense with a lot of nuggets. I haven't a lot of information. I haven't seen. I have watched Vitalik on this being interviewed by Lex before, but in this particular interview, he was more relaxed. It seemed he had more personality, and he you get to have an insight into the mind working of this nerd who built the Ethereum blockchain for us. And but in this particular clip that I'm going to share with you, just to give you a quick context, they talk about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which are it's tokenized assets on the Ethereum blockchain. It gives property rights to digital assets. And he explains and gives us an idea of gives us an insight into what he thinks about the NFT space. Let's go ahead and watch this video, and we'll talk about it right after.
About one of the most exciting aspects of Ethereum. I mean, it's non-technical. I think it's a societal, it's social, which is NFTs. So, what do you think? What do you think about the explosion of NFTs in the recent months, especially in the art world and beyond? And what does the future look like? So this is maybe the social impact on the world, on the individual creators of all kinds. Like, is that something you've actually expected to see, NFTs having this kind of impact? And beyond, what do you think will happen in the digital space with NFTs, in virtual reality, in gaming, all those kinds of things?
I was definitely surprised by like NFTs in particular. Like I even actually I think might be on record somewhere on some tech conference panel. Like they were asking, it was one of those overrated or underrated sections, and I asked about NFTs, and I thought, hey, and I said like, hey, I think NFTs are overrated.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, that turned out to be quite wrong. I think, like, I guess I just personally can't really relate to this concept of like spending a lot of money on a thing, and like there's nothing, there's no clear kind of understanding of why that thing would maintain its value.
Right. Uniqueness of a thing having value.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's like I definitely am like cannot really understand, the psychology behind like buying, paying $200,000 for original art painting. I'd be like, if I had a mansion, just like give me photocopies of everything. And you can hang 3 photocopies of the Mona Lisa. Actually, why would I even have the Mona Lisa? I think I'd probably just like have some Nyan cats or something.
That's one thing where mathematics or theoretical computer science cannot formalize why the heck NFTs are valuable
Exactly.
at all.
But the thing that makes me very happy about the space now that it has happened is that, I mean, this gets back to the conversation that we had at the beginning, right? Like, I'm interested in this concept of decentralized public goods funding, right? Like, I want things that are good and valuable to, as much as possible, also be things that can, economically sustain the people who produce them, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't have that, then either the public goods just don't get produced at all, or people make like centralized versions that have some of the properties and try to be substitutes, but actually just like concentrate control in a very small group, right? And both of those things are not very nice. So
what I like about this is that even him, even Vitalik, he's an amazing mind. Even him, he had his uh hesitations. He didn't think that NFTs were warranted his attention, which is really important to understand that first of all, because he got distracted with the speculative aspect of it, where people were just like trying to trade art with it and make quick buck with it. So he being the very simple, he comes off as a very simple guy, doesn't really uh, value spending a lot of money on overpriced art or overpriced properties, like he said. So he didn't see any value to it. Um, but now he's sharing with us how he feels it's going to be very important or how it would benefit the general public, or else it's just pointless to even what's the use of technology anyway if it doesn't benefit the large population at large.
So the nice thing about NFTs would be, well, if you're an artist and you can just mint NFTs and this is a source of revenue, then like, great, that's another stream of revenue for, creative work that often does still get underfunded, and that's amazing.
Okay, let me ask you a weird question. We talk about Craig Wright a little bit, but
all right, well, they veer off into something else, but but you get the point. He definitely believes in the promise of NFTs. He definitely believes in the promise of NFTs as far as how it will, the fact that it will give us property rights and property ownership to digital assets, as well as royalties to those same digital assets. So in perpetuity, you own it and you also benefit from the ownership. And that's the aspect of it that caught his attention. I personally think that is the revolutionary aspect of non-fungible tokens as a technology. The fact that we can store consumer data on it, and the originators or the owner of the data continues to benefit from the ownership of that data in perpetuity. You can picture NFTs used in the pharmaceutical industry when it comes to prescription drugs. It can be used for our health data. It can be used for even in the agriculture space where you have farm produce to table or to consumer. And if these farm produce are tokenized as NFTs, you can track them all the way back to the farmers. And that way there's a clear traceability of each farm produce. I definitely like the fact that this is a burgeoning space. We're still very early in this space. I liken it to the 90s when the internet became mainstream and people hopped on uh, creating internets, web spaces and web browsers, and they thought it was the biggest thing. But then it turned out that just having a web browser, it's only scratching the surface, because now look at where we are in terms of um, YouTube and sharing videos and sharing all kinds of stuff on the web 2.0. But people who got on the web 1.0 back in the 90s, they could not envision what we will be able to do with that internet today. And I'm saying that NFTs today appear like all we can do with it is art and trade music. Recently, some producers are making or tokenizing their records or releasing their records as NFTs. That's just another space, um, another use case of the NFTs. We're just scratching the surface. 10 years from today, NFTs is going to evolve into something else, and we're going to be using it in form of a DApp, a decentralized application. We're going to be using the technology in one form or the other. And most of us are not even going to remember these early days when NFTs became, hopped on the scene and became mainstream. So I encourage you, if this is an interest of yours, if you care about NFTs or the Ethereum blockchain, this is an opportunity to get that first mover advantage research and learn about it as I am, and place yourself in a position to benefit from it long term. All right. I'm going to encourage you guys to subscribe to my channel so that I can share with you more of this type of content. If you like the content, like it, leave a comment, and then and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time.